5 people wake up in a huge hall. None of them remember who they are or how they got here. They see a giant closed door. The people look around the room and notice something strange. What is it? These statuettes. They are hidden all over the room. There are 5 people in the room, but they find 6 statuettes.
This must be the key,
one man says.
We need to find out which of the statuettes is the odd one.
Can you guess which one? This one. Its eyes are different from those of the others. The people try to use the odd statuette as a key.
Come on!
And it works. The door opens and everyone enters the next room. But when the man who suggested using the statuettes looks around, he sees that he is alone in there. Suddenly, a ghost of a woman appears in front of him. "If you want to get out, each of you must solve my riddles," she says. "But you will definitely fail." She disappears. The man looks around the room. He finds a strange symbol and a cipher decoder on the table. Can you find 9 other symbols? These are all 10 symbols. The man begins to unravel the message using a decoder. Can you decipher it? It says page 52. The man opens the book lying on the table. On page 52, there's a riddle written in an ancient language. If you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you haven't got me. What am I? The man immediately guesses the answer. Can you? It's a secret. The man is surprised that he was able to read the riddle written in an ancient language. The answer is the password to the door. He types it in and the door opens. Suddenly, he remembers. His name is Thomas. He's a linguist and a cryptographer. Meanwhile, in another room, a young man finds himself in a beautiful place full of plants. There are 3 flowers on the table. They giggle maliciously. The sign in front of them reads, "Lying Flowers." The first flower says, "You'll never get out of here, and you'll never get rid of us. Just give up already." The second one says,
"I don't remember how you can get rid of us. It was either cutting or uprooting us."
The third one says,
"Uprooting and plucking us are both proper ways."
What should the guy do? Cut the flowers, uproot them, or pluck them? Pluck is the correct answer. These flowers only tell lies. So the conclusions we can draw from their words are these. 1. There is a way to get rid of them. 2. It is neither cutting nor uprooting. 3. And there's only one way to remove them. The only thing that remains is plucking. The guy plucks the flowers. He notices that glowing letters appear on their petals. The letters need to be put together to get the answer. What is it? The word is basket. The guy examines the basket and finds a folded note at the bottom. He unfolds it and reads this riddle. In a pond, there are some flowers with bees hovering over them. How many flowers and bees are there if both of the following statements are true? 1. If each bee lands on a flower, one bee won't get a flower. 2. If every 2 bees share a flower, there is 1 extra flower. Can you help the guy crack this riddle? There are 4 bees and 3 flowers. Suddenly, a sunflower bud appears on the table. The guy uses it as a key to the door, and it opens. And then he remembers. His name is John, and he's a gardener. In another room, a girl finds herself surrounded by beautiful crystals and gemstones. On the wall, there's a board with the names and pictures of different gems. Some of the gems are the answers to these riddles. 1. Did you know that the queens and the kings of all times really enjoyed that pretty purple color of mine? 2. My name is like water. I'm as blue as the sea. Can you guess what I am and which picture is me? 3. Hey, I am from water as well. I'm seen in strings and found inside a shell. 4. You know me so well. Come on, be excited. I created the city where a wizard resided. 5. I sound like danger, but please don't be scared. I'm striped like a cat and named after its stare. Can you match the riddles and the gems? The correct answers are 1. Amethyst, 2. Aquamarine, 3. Pearl, 4. Emerald, and 5. Tiger's eye. The girl hears some noise and notices that the box on the table has opened. She comes up to the box and reads the next riddle. The queen went to the king to complain about her lady-in-waiting. In the morning, the queen put her amethyst necklace in a jewelry box to protect it from sunlight. No wonder, this stone tends to fade in the sun. She spent the day in the library reading books. At one point, she looked out of the window and noticed her lady-in-waiting. She was sitting in the garden, wearing the queen's necklace. The lady-in-waiting began crying and said this was not true. She would never steal from the queen. The king opened the jewelry box and found out that the necklace was still inside. Who is lying? The girl soon realizes that the lady-in-waiting is the liar. Have you noticed that the amethyst is now much dimmer than before? That means that the lady-in-waiting really wore the necklace outside. The girl solves the riddle. 3 gemstones appear at the bottom of the jewelry box: citrine, garnet, and alexandrite. There's also a note that says, "Figure out the weight of each stone without using scales. This riddle will help you." Can you figure out the weight of each stone? The citrine weighs 10 ounces, the garnet weighs 4 ounces, and the alexandrite weighs 2 ounces. Suddenly, the girl remembers. Her name is Melissa. She is a jeweler and collects crystals. In another room, a woman finds 6 glasses on the table. 3 of them are empty, and 3 are full of water. The woman sees a note. Move only 1 glass to make a row of alternately full and empty glasses. How can she do it? She should take the 5th glass and pour the water into the second one. Suddenly, the glasses disappear. Instead, 2 sets of different ingredients and a note appear on the table. The note says, "Find 3 differences." Can you spot all of them? These are the differences. The woman takes the ingredients and throws them into a cauldron, but something is missing. Shiny and beautiful, a werewolf's fear. We need to get more of it for our precious queen. Coins and mirrors, trays and tea sets, the nobles were buying while falling in debts. It's silver. The woman adds some silver and gets a potion that can melt the lock. When she opens the door, she remembers. Her name is Lauren, and she's a chemist. An elderly woman finds herself in this room. She spots 4 photos on the table. All the photos seem to be taken in different periods of time. The note says, "Is there a person who is present in every photo?" Can you help the woman figure it out? Here she is. Despite the signs of aging, you can see that this is the same woman. Look, she has this mole above her lip. A mirror appears in front of the elderly woman. Wait, is that her? The woman from the photos? The mirror shows her with a guy in a suit. He looks confused. There's a maid on the left and a bride on the right. "Don't listen to her. I'm your wife," says the bride. "You're lying. I'm his wife," the maid cries. Can you guess who is lying? The girl on the left is his wife because she has a wedding ring on her finger. Wait, she also has the same mole above her lip. Is this our elderly woman when she was young? The letters appear in the mirror. IVTCBOE. What does that mean? I'll give you a hint. Try to think outside the box. It's husband. Each letter in this word is replaced by the next letter in the alphabet. And suddenly, the woman remembers. Her name is Brienne. She's a witch, and this is her castle. Brienne opens the door. Everyone else has already gathered outside. "I'm your mother," she says. "We know," Thomas replies. "Another witch tried to steal our father. She erased our memories and put a spell on him. I deciphered the recipe for the potion that can help him remember, but I'll need your help." There is a large cauldron in the hall. Everyone uses their knowledge to prepare the potion. Now Brienne must cast a spell. Solve the puzzle to find out the magic word. It's Memoria. The potion is ready. Suddenly, 3 doors appear in front of the family. Behind the first door, there's a hot desert, but there are some fruits on the trees growing there. The second door opens to the middle of the sea. Behind the third door, there's an endless forest. What should the family do? They should use the trees to make a raft and pick up the fruits so that they don't starve. Now they can cross the sea. Meanwhile, Brienne uses a spell to chain the witch. Solve another puzzle to learn the spell she uses. It's Sigillum. Now the witch won't bother them anymore. The family leaves the castle and lives happily ever after.
You'll have 10 seconds for each of the optical illusions. Your task will be to read the hidden number. You'll go from the easiest to the hardest riddles. Start off with an easy one for warm-up. Told you, it's 784. Moving on. I hope you were able to see the number 5346 here. Level up. How about this one? The correct answer is 725. And another one. Yes, it's 786. Now, only 5% of people can read the next 3 numbers. Want to give it a go? If your answer is 6012, it's correct. And here's another tricky one. It's 182. And if you saw it, you must have eagle vision. Told you it won't be easy, but try this one. The correct answer is 3708. Let's see how you handle some black and white illusions. And the first one is hiding the number 476. There you go. If that was too simple, how about this one? I hope you guessed it was 86347. And now, let's test your eyes with some hidden words. You still have 10 seconds for each of them. I'm sure you figured out it's the word never. Can you read what this picture says? I can't sleep. How sad. This one is hiding the name of some month. You have to think outside the box to read it. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time. Well, the secret was to split it in half. Then you can see it's July. How about this one? It's the word run hiding in the back. Another one for you. Hope you found the gold. Here comes a tricky one. It takes some brain power to see its brain. Another one in this category. It's only getting more complicated. If you read the word music between the lines, you must be a genius. Now let's see if you can decipher these secret messages. I give you 10 seconds for this one. Well, if someone says it's just a bunch of letters without meaning, you can easily prove them wrong. What do you see here? The power of imagination makes us infinite. Couldn't agree more. Here's another one. I hope you always desire to learn something useful. You deserve some dessert for all that mental activity. Here's just one cupcake among all those ice cream cones. Try to find it. There it is. Yum. Get a tomato to go. I can only see a bunch of apples, but maybe you'll be luckier here. Found it! There's a butterfly hiding somewhere among those flowers. Do you see it? Fantastic! It's right there. Can you find the one and only pineapple in this image? Great job! One of these colorful leaves is in fact a mushroom. Can you spot it? Well done! How about a safari to give your eyes another test? Do you see anyone hiding in these leaves? Yep, it's a chameleon. And those guys know how to blend with the surroundings. There must be a groundhog hiding somewhere in the rocks. Find it in 10 seconds. Wow, that was neat. One coyote won't do you much harm, but if it brings some friends, better make sure this area is coyote-free. Start looking for a different picnic spot. One of those guys is right here. Watch where you step. I hear there are snakes on the ground. Found one. Better be careful. I don't see anyone roaming in this territory. Let's see if you have sharper eyes. What a beautiful gazelle. Did you manage to find it? The next illusion was created back in 1860. It shows how your brain perceives depth and shapes. So, do you think the black line lines up with the blue one? If you answered yes, you're wrong. In fact, the black line stems from the red line. Now, take a look at these illusions and remember what you see first. It can tell a lot about your personality. If it looks like a mountain to you, you're a down-to-earth person. You're persistent, reliable, and like to plan things. Overcoming obstacles makes you feel really happy. You appreciate stability and don't like to take risks. If you saw the upside-down wolf first, you're a natural leader. You keep your emotions under control even in the most stressful situations. Others admire and respect you for that. Remember, it's okay to ask for help sometimes if you need it. How about this one? If lips caught your eye first, you're realistic and always take things the way they are. You don't look for hidden meaning in what happens to you and what others say to you. It helps you get along with people well. If you notice the trees first, you're an ambitious person and a perfectionist to the core. You're never happy with just okay, and will always strive to be number one and make yourself and others happy. In the case the first thing you saw was the roots, you're an extremely progressive person. You love trying all the new technology and styles. You never settle and always try to make your life better and more exciting. Here comes the next one. If it looks like a parrot to you, you're the soul of any party. You like to be the center of attention, wear something bright, talk loudly, and laugh your heart out. You have plenty of friends who love that about you. If you see a girl in a beautiful long dress, you must be the mysterious artsy type. You prefer to observe others being active and loud and get inspiration for your work. You notice little details and remember them to later put them on your canvas or paper. You have 10 seconds to decide what you see in this illusion here. If it's clearly an image of an elephant and a giraffe, you're a reliable and hardworking person. You feel responsible for yourself and your work and don't like to let others down. People appreciate you for that and share their secrets with you. If you saw some rabbits between the trees, you're not as simple as you might seem. You always think before you say or do something. You have a strategy for every life situation. It's important to you to be accepted and loved by others, so you do a lot to please them. New illusion, same task. If you see just two horses crossing a waterfall, you're an adventurous person. When someone offers trying something new or going to a new place, you're always up for it. You realize you might not like it in the end, but you'd rather try it and be sad than regret not going. In case you noticed several faces first, you always see the big picture and can find the right decision quickly. You know what you want and how to get there and never reconsider your own choices. These qualities will take you far in your career. Moving on. What a beautiful landscape, but is it hiding something? If all you see here is some sea and rocks, you're a calm and balanced person. Sometimes you're in a bad mood, but you always look on the bright side of life and move on. If you also noticed some animals drawn on the rocks, you have a great eye for detail. You always listen to both parties in a conflict before taking sides. You like doing research and drawing logical conclusions. Alright, what does this one say to you? In case you're positive it's a portrait of a young girl, you're an extrovert and can't survive a day without people. You're active on social media and enjoy going to social events where you can make even more friends. If you see some horses and birds, you're more of an introvert. You love being alone outside. You have some great friends, but you appreciate your personal space. Those who see the face and the horses at once, you've got the best of both worlds. You feel comfortable at a party with a few hundred new people around and alone reading a book. What can you say about this illusion? Those who see a face of a woman, you're realistic and pretty content with your life. You don't expect too much from others and are ready to stand your ground if you have to. If you see a saxophone player, you often prefer your imaginary world to the real one. In your dreams, you have turned your favorite hobby into a career. Try doing that in real life. What are your thoughts on this one? If it's clearly an older man to you, you've always been wiser and more reasonable than others your age. That's why people often ask you for advice, and you enjoy helping them out. If you see a young girl and an older man in the arch, you'll always be a child at heart. Your family means the world to you, and you always ask them for advice and protection.
How many colors do you see here? If your answer is 3, you're not wrong. Do you think it's 17? Could be.
What?
Although the image went viral just recently, the explanation to this mystery is at least a century and a half old. It was discovered by an Austrian math and physics professor, Mach. He noticed you can easily distinguish between similar colors of slightly contrasting shades when they're close to each other. When you set them apart, the difference is barely noticeable. The professor thought it had something to do with the construction of the eyeball and the tissue the retina is made of. The bands effect was later named Mach bands in his honor. Years later, when they had better technology, scientists found the professor was basically right. Your retina is similar to a cinema screen. It captures light that's projected through the pupil. Receptors are all over that screen. Some of them are more active under bright light and send a whole lot of signals to the brain. When two cells send similar signals, you might think it's the same shade. Nerves are trying to solve this problem. They send stronger signals to make the difference more obvious at the border of different shades. Your brain then notices a clear boundary. This explains why you can see the difference between similar shades when they're next to each other. The transition between colors can look like a separate color. Some people can't see the difference between contrasting colors in the picture because of how their brains are built. The color rendering abilities, brightness, and contrast of your laptop or smartphone screen is another reason. Then there's also the amount of lighting in your house or office. Plus, you don't have the same optics in your eyes that screen light as anyone else. You also have a unique level of pigment density that affects how your eyes absorb light. You could even have more than regular 3 cone cell types and see more colors than others. And some people are more affected by the Mach bands phenomenon than others. That's why there's no correct answer to how many colors the image contains. Sometimes, uncertainty can make different people see one thing differently. The dress that was somehow gold and white, blue and black, blue and white, and blue at the same time became a real sensation. The picture was taken on a cell phone in a really weird lighting and overexposed. You can't tell if it was taken inside or outside, and that means you don't know if it's artificial or natural light. It's not clear if the light illuminates the dress from the front or the back. If it were backlit, there would have to be a shadow. Parts of the dress itself were in shadow. That shadow was reflecting off the dress itself, complicating things even more. Confused? Me too. When your brain doesn't have enough information, it fills in the gaps by making its own assumptions. It mostly makes them based on what it's previously seen or known. That's why your brain could make one guess about lighting conditions and someone else's a totally different one. People who thought it was in a shadow believed the dress was white and gold. Same with those who thought it was in natural light. Shadows and blue sky overrepresent blue light and make things seem yellowish. Oh, and the retailer of the dress officially confirmed it was black and blue, and that it was sold out in the first 30 minutes of business the day after it had gone viral. A new debate over the color of retro sneakers happened a few years later for the same reason. Are they teal and gray, or maybe pink and white? You can't be sure with weird camera quality, flash, and funky lighting. When you zoom in on the picture, you can notice the hand is unnaturally bluish. So, depending on how sensitive your eyes are to light and how your brain fills the visual information gaps, the sneakers can look different to you. In reality, they turned out to be pink and white. Do these strawberries look red to you? In fact, they're gray and green. The picture has been drained of any red. Your brain still makes you see it because of something known as color constancy. Your brain can sometimes ignore information from the color of the light. It knows what strawberries are, and it also knows they're supposed to be red, so it helps you see them as such. When an astronaut posted a picture of some sand dunes, the internet thought they were pits, not hills. Only when they flipped the pic over, people could see dunes in the indefinite pattern. Turns out your brain thought the sun was in the 1 o'clock position. It means it's supposed to be casting shadows from the upper right. In reality, it was casting shadows from the upper left. So, turning it upside down makes things more usual to your brain. How many black spots can you see in this image? There are 12 of them, but most people can't see them all at once. All the dots are perfectly visible, but you can see each of them only when you look directly at it. Your peripheral vision isn't that perfect. Your brain has to fill in the blanks. The white between gray lines makes it think the dots are lighter than they are, so it decides to pretend there's just grayer and the dots aren't there. Although one of them looks twice the size of the other, these guys are of the same size. They're placed in an Ames room, invented by an American ophthalmologist in the 1940s. You'd have to look into a pinhole at a room that seems to be a regular square but is a trapezoid. The walls and ceilings are tilted, and this makes your eyes see one person tower over another even when they move around. If you have a toy train track at home, you can see how the next illusion works in reality. You take 2 segments of the same size and put them next to each other. One of them looks obviously larger than the other one. That's because your brain compares the two sides of the pieces that are next to each other. It compares the right side of the track that's on the left to the left side of the track that's on the right. When you compare squares A and B in the checker shadow illusion, you can tell square A is much darker than square B. Your brain expects the cylinder to throw a shadow on the board. It compensates for the alternating colors it expected to find. If you still don't believe the squares are of the same color, you can compare them with a color selector in any photo editing program. In the Ebbinghaus illusion, the two circles in the middle of their circle sets are of the same size. Turns out the way you perceive the size of things is all about context. The circle surrounded by larger ones seems smaller, and the one in the company of smaller circles seems to be a giant. There are 12 dots here, all of them are lilac. Your task is to stare at the cross in the middle of the dot ring. As one lilac dot disappears for a moment, a green dot takes its place. It also gradually wipes away other lilac dots one by one as it moves around the circle. This is the after-image effect in action. The rods and cones adjust to the constant disappearance of lilac dots. They replace it with a color from the opposite end of the spectrum, which is green. Seeing motion in a still image is one of the most common types of optical illusions. To create one, you have to build a pattern of high-contrast colors. They activate neural signals at the same time. This is how the fake motion effect appears. Café wall illusion was first described in the late 19th century. The tile pattern of a café wall had straight parallel lines and grout in between them. It seemed the black and white lines sloped diagonally. That's because different types of neurons in your brain react to dark and light colors. Some parts of the grout line seem brighter than others. Where there's contrast, there appears to be asymmetry.